Alright, we're back. We're going to do another one of these episodes where we go outside of Toronto. This time, we're going to be going to Montreal. Bonjour, comment ça va? What's going on, everybody? This one's going to be crazy. I mean, the amount of tricks that are going to be in this video is pretty insane in comparison to the Vancouver one, which shout out to you guys who all watched that one. That one was actually, you know, that one kind of blew up. I can't wait to dive into a lot of tricks. We're going to check out spots like Park Lafontaine, Peace Park, the Olympic Stadium, Prefontaine Bank, and a bunch of other spots as well. So without further ado, let's get right into it and start talking about some of the craziest tricks that have gone down in Montreal. I think we start strong and talk about Pack. And again, this isn't really like a spot history video. Like, I do want to make my way to Montreal and do some of these spots as well and do like a full deep dive like we've done in Toronto. I know I'm going to leave stuff out, but I can always count on you guys to let me know down below. To start off, that flat five, Mitch Donovan, he did fakie tray flip on that in a KO, Don de la KO tour video, KO Canada. There's a really dope photo for that as well. I think it might have been a sequence actually. Wade Desarmo did switch hard flip down it in one of the dime videos. There's going to be a lot of dime video compilations happening in this video, by the way. Sorry if I butcher names. I know there's like a French pronunciation to a lot of them, and I don't have a French accent, so I'm sorry in advance for all the names that I am going to completely fuck up. Fred Lantagne, sorry. But dude, he's so sick. His switch inward heel down the flat five, that was such a sick one as well. The way he did it, perfect. Love that one. Sam Chouinard, he did switch laser flip down it. James Elliger Murphy, he did regular laser flip down it as well. Will Marshall, he nollie tray flipped it. I was trying to find the clip, but we found a sequence for it too. Played right over there. But that was such a sick nollie tray flip. Like that one a lot. Will Marshall also did fakie hard flip down it too. That was in his dime thrasher part. JS Lapierre, he did switch tray flip on it. He also switch big heeled it too. And there's also the 4 flat 5 that people skate as well at the same spot. And JS Lapierre, he did tray flip on it. Charles Rivard, he did no comply flip off of somebody else's board down the 2 block. Hugo Balek, he no complied the flat 5. Can't forget about Wrecking Ball. He did nose manny nollie flip the 2 block. Did he touch though? I know he didn't touch. He would have redid that shit. Come on now. He got broke off though. TJ Rogers in his blind X2 vision part, he switch big flipped it.
Come alive. You made me
the tricks over the bench are some of my favorite as well. There's obviously been more that's gone down on this thing, but some of my favorites, I'll name a few. You got Brandon Westgate, who did frontside flip over it. And Mason Silva, he did fakie full cab over it as well. I also know Spencer Hamilton, he did frontside 360 over it too. But the gnarliest one has to go to Tiago Lemos with the nollie backside heel flip over it. That was incredible. Like, and then you have the 2 block to the road. It looks massive. I've never been to the spot, but it looks insane. I've heard it's like on another level. I feel like more has gone down on this spot, and maybe this will help us when we actually go do a spot history in person there, because I want to save some tricks as well. I don't want to, for lack of a better term, blow our load all in one video. I want to save some of this stuff and actually, like, you know, mention all the stuff that happened in the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, and so on and so forth. And we could do that in a spot history video. And this spot is a spot that would definitely be deserving of a video like that. Ones that come to mind would be Charles Deschamps. He did front shove down it. And then, of course, Spencer Hamilton's switch backside flip to the road. That's top tier for sure. Let's move on to the next spot. There's so many spots to talk about in this video, and I have to narrow it down somehow. Like, I think there's 140 tricks that I got on a list right here on my phone. Already, like, that's a lot. This is probably going to be a bit of a longer video. Even still, like, I know we're leaving a lot of stuff off, even though there's a lot of tricks that we are mentioning. So, but let's move to the next spot. We're going to go to Peace Park and talk about a lot of the crazy tricks that have gone down there. The first one that comes to mind is actually Tiago with the long switchback tail that he does on the ledge there. Just such a long switchback tail. I feel like for him that probably wasn't even that hard, just because he's done that trick on even taller ledges of that length, or at least close to. But not only did he do that, he also did a pretty insane manual trick on it too. He did frontside flip, fakie manual, and fakie flipped out at the end. Zander Mitchell, he nollie crooked that entire ledge as well. I'm probably gonna say this name wrong, but he's sick. William Phelan, he did frontside tail slide, front heel flip out on the entire long ledge as well. Morgan DT can have a whole episode, like a whole video, just breaking down his one part that he had at Peace Park. But obviously we're not going to do that today. But some standout ones that he did would be that heel flip back nose blunt off the propped up tile. And then he also did frontside nose slide, nollie back heel on that entire long ledge. Another legend, Eric Riedel, RIP. He has one of my favorite tricks at this spot actually with the nose manny. Nollie flip back down to nose manny, nollie half cab out. Such a sick one. I love the way the music is playing in the dime video. Dime videos always have the best music choices of all time. Like, you know, having Street Fighter music and just like epic symphonies and things like that. All the links are down below as well for all these videos. So if you haven't watched any of these videos, if you're new to my channel, if you're new to Canadian skateboarding and you're just trying to, you know, kind of get familiar with it, definitely after this video, check out all the links that I linked down below. Definitely check out the dime videos for sure if you're looking for a place to start when it comes to Montreal skateboarding. When the Primitive team came to Canada in 2016, the guys, they went out to Peace Park as well. They got a bunch of really sick clips. Carlos Ribeiro, he did switch flip backtail 3 shove. Nick Tucker with that tray flip nose manny. Tray flipping up anything of that height is gnarly, but tray flip nose manny, nollie heel flip out. That was a sick one. Throwing it back, we got Eric Mercier, who they set up like a barrier rack over the Peace Park gap, and he did frontside Smith grind to manual on the ledge, which was really sick. I think that was maybe back in 2003, I want to say. But yeah, we got to shout out the legends in this video, man. Carla Bell, I'll always remember this clip just because I grew up watching Yesterday's Future, and his part was one of my favorite parts. And that first trick that he does in his part to start off the song and everything like that, you just see him charging at it, just running so fast, and ollies the big Peace Park gap, flat gap from ledge to ledge. That might actually be the first time I've ever even seen that spot on film, just because that was a bit of an earlier video for me growing up. But I also know Joe Buffalo, he did that as well. And then we can't forget about Dylan Reeder, RIP. You know, he did ollie over it to manual, which is pretty crazy as well. Dylan Moore's kickflip though, on that Don de la Cayo tour. Wow. The photo too. Wow. Such a good one. Like, undeniably probably one of the biggest kickflips, one of the gnarliest kickflips. And to no surprise, it's Dylan Moore as well. I think he's done all of the gnarliest kickflips in Canada. There's actually one other person who we'll get to a little bit later who we could put on that list too. I got so much ice on my hand, figured I was born in Nova Scotia. And again, I'm sure we could talk for hours about Peace Park, and you know, maybe we will one day when we actually go to Montreal, but we got to end at some point, and I think Dylan Moore's kickflip is a great one to end it on at that spot. If you guys made it this far, by the way, I'm assuming you guys are enjoying the video. If you are, hit the little like button. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And subscribe if you're new as well. Let's move on to the next spot. I'm gonna butcher this name, but shout out Will Cristofaro for trying to teach me how to say things in French. Le Belvedere, I think that's how you say it. It's the spot with the 2 white forest stairs that leads to a white rocky outledge. Classic spot for sure in Montreal. Big tourist area by the looks of it. There's a lot that's gone down, but we're going to quickly talk about that one. A couple of my favorites would definitely be Tiago Lemos' switch heel, backside nose grind on it. That's definitely up there as one of the craziest tricks. And Jake Johnson, he does switch backside 180 to backside nose grind on it as well. I'm not sure if that was a backups or not, but in the edit, Tiago's and Jake Johnson's tricks, they play back to back. Will Marshall, he did front blunt kickflip out to regular on it. Yuri Facchini, dude, rare trick, but leave it to Yuri to do this one. He vario flip nose grinded it. My favorite trick to go down on the spot is Zander Mitchell. He did nollie frontside 180 heel flip to switch 5-0, and he also did the same trick with going back to goofy, so like 180 out. There's this other really dope spot that's like this out rail. It's at the side of a building. In the Dime Store, the Deuce video, Thomas Perrin, he does pop shove nose grind on it. Call it what you will, nose grind over crook. Comment down below what you call it. I'm always going to call it a nose grind when it's on a rail. Sue me. You don't like it? All good. You'll live. Then you have Charles Deschamps, who did frontside board slide, front shove out. Matt Berger, he did backtail big flip on it. And Will Cristofaro with the big spin front nose slide in slub bucks. Thanks, Will Cristofaro, for helping me out with this one. Appreciate it a lot. Guys, if you haven't also checked out Will Cristofaro's YouTube channel, I'll link it like right here or some shit. Or if it's not able to go there, I'll put it in the description down below. Definitely go check him out. He's got a lot of different videos going on, health and wellness, but also mixed with skateboarding, and then also tying in actual history of skateboarding as well on his travels, things like that. So definitely go check him out. He's also got the Rolling Brain podcast as well, which I had the luxury of being on. This one was crazy. It was a Zander in a recent video, William Phelan. Sorry, I'm going to keep saying this wrong. But he board slid a fucking bridge over water. A lot of danger factor, and I don't even think he fell into the water or anything like that. So no water was touched. Shout out to you. That was dope.
I ain't even touched the fucking water, baby. No fucking water today. No water, only fucking beer.
It's winter time and it's cold as fuck outside right now. And, you know, Montreal's got a great indoor scene as well, just like Toronto does. They have a lot of really good indoor skate spots. But one that actually has like the craziest tricks to go down in Montreal would be the big white double stair. But some of the tricks that really stand out to me are Will Marshall's varial heel flip. He did that one so perfect. Then you also have, his name's Lil Ham on Instagram. He backside big spin it for an Instagram clip. It cleared it, and it was like the best big spin ever. But we'll play the clip right here. But you can just see like right here, like, such a good backside big spin. Love that one. 2 angles too. Will Cristofaro back in Mucho Mango, frontside big spinned it. And then you also have Sam Chouinard, who did hard flip on it. Such a sick hard flip. Security's like coming down the escalator as he's doing it, and obviously about to kick them out. But he did it right in his face, basically, which is dope.
Yo.
Sean Hale's gap to 5-0 on that thing. I feel like people have looked at that gap to rail for a long time and didn't actually like, you know, skate that thing. Let's talk about Glencoe. There's this gap at Barrie, and he ollied it. I think he's the only one to actually ollie this gap, and he got a really good photo to it by Jeff Clifford. And then Glencoe also front-tailed the snake hubba, like this S hubba. It's such a sick ledge. It doesn't look too high to get onto, but it looks like you kind of have to gap out to it a little bit. There's obviously a lot more tricks that have gone down on this handrail, but I just want to talk about these two. It's the one that Ryan Decenzo in his Globe United by Fate parts, his ender. He does 3 shove to nose blunt. That's such a gnarly one. And then you also have JS Lapierre, who did frontside blunt slide, backside flip out. And I know I'm probably missing some tricks on this rail that are more than deserving to be on this list. And that's where you guys come in. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you think should have been mentioned on that rail. We can always go back. We can always do a part 2 as well. There's this really big 12 stair. Sam Chouinard, I think he kind of owns that thing. The nollie heel on that thing with the celebration afterwards with the backflip off the wall. Shit's getting crazy. Typical dime energy, you know, you gotta love it. Again, check out these links down below if you haven't watched these videos, but shout out to the nollie heel. Shout out Sam Chouinard. There's the really tall short ledge to really tall drop. And Matt Berger, he did backside tail slide on it. Ryan Decenzo did backside blunt on it. And Will Cristofaro's frontside nose blunt on it is just the way he did it was really good. And it's in that same Mucho Mango part 2. So he was pretty young when he did that thing, man. And the drop looks pretty intense. You know Will, he did that shit for Biggie Smalls.
This is dedicated to fucking Biggie Smalls! Notorious B.I.G.
Really tall handrail. I think it's either a 10 or an 11 stair. It's been painted all different colors. It's been yellow, it's been brown. Ryan Decenzo, he kickflip crooked it, and he also nollie heel flip nose slid it as well. Super sick rail. It looks so good on film. I love that one. Alec Majerus in his away days part, he did kick front blunt shove, which is just insane. We also got the monument at Peel Park. That's such a sick spot as well. Tall ledge on top of another ledge. People typically, you know, gap out onto the tall ledge and then drop onto the lower black marble ledge. I'll start with my favorite on that ledge, which I would say is Morgan TT's Kickback Smith. I just love Kickback Smiths. I think it's one of the coolest tricks in skateboarding. Joey LaRock, I think he kind of owns that spot. I'm going to call it the Joey LaRock ledge, but you can call it what you want to call it. I'm going to call it what I'm going to call it. But the kickflip back tail that he did on that thing, as well as the front blunt, and he also did backside nose blunt on it as well. Back nose blunts gotta be the best trick to go down on it. Even though there's no flip in, you are popping so fucking high to get onto that. So shout out to Joey LaRock for sure. There's this really, really big gap. It's like super tall over like a pretty long sidewalk. And I think you go over like a red fire hydrant too. Zander Mitchell, he nollie flipped that gap. Just looks like the most amount of impact. Josh Clark, he fakey flipped that gap, which is also fucked up. But the craziest one was actually Nugget Moore. He did gap crook on an electrical box. It was on a Converse trip. I believe he also got the cover with that photo as well. We're gonna get to Park Lafontaine. We're gonna get to Big O and the Olympic Stadium, I promise, but sit tight. We gotta go through a lot of other tricks first that definitely deserve to be mentioned. I want to talk about some ledge lines that went down at, I think it's called Peleus ledges. The black marble ones. I'm probably saying that wrong, but anyways. Tom Asta, dude, he did such a sick line in Till the End Volume 3 by Santa Cruz. He does kick back tail big spin and then does switch flip back tail big spin as well.
Beers on me tonight, bros.
Dude,
Find everybody beers.
that was
Especially you, Joe.
amazing.
Tiago Lemos' line was also pretty insane. I got to put it up there. Fakey flip backside, fakey 5-0. And then he does switch hard flip back tail on the next ledge as well. This is another spot I kind of want to save for like an in-person kind of deal. So I'm going to kind of like stay away from naming too much at this spot because there's a lot more we could talk about for sure. I want to mention Wade Desarmo's switch hard flip manual over like the dirt gap to the sidewalk.
Have mercy on me.
Don't hate me too much for not going into like a bunch of ledge lines and tech manual tricks, but we'll save that one for in person. Alex Gavin, he did it in the winter. It's snowing and he just dropped in on this giant like monument thing. Love that shit. Shout out Alex Gavin. OG. Thank you, Will, for teaching me French. La Bosse rail. It's an OG rail. A lot of people have skated this back in the day. I could think of Marc-Andre Daou. He did backside tail slide to fakie on it. And you got Francis Belfay. He did switch front board on it. Guys, I'm so fucking bad with these names. Like, I'm sorry. Piff, he did kick front board on it. And Alex Morin, he got the kick flip crook on that shit too, which also got him the cover of Expose. And speaking of Piff, there's this big ass hubba. If anyone could do big hubbas like this, it's definitely Piff. I think this one also got the cover or like at least a really good photo. I think it was a cover though. But yeah, he 50-50 that big ass hubba. This is a great ledge spot. Square Victoria we could deep dive on this one, but it's mostly just like a bunch of ledge lines that have gone down. And there's some other things as well. The one that comes to mind, if we're just talking about ledge tricks real quick, would be TJ Rogers does switch tail, switch hard flip, and it's a really long switch tail that he does as well. Are you waiting for the big hubba at Olympic Stadium? You're waiting for it, eh? Hit the like button down below. We're gonna get to that shit at the end of the video, all right? We're getting there. We're getting there. But right now, let's talk about Park Lafontaine. This is one of the most iconic spots in Montreal, hands down, for sure. No doubt about it. And what I mainly want to focus on is the gap to ledge over the grass. That's such an iconic ledge that tons of people have done countless tricks on over many years. There's even a long grass gap over there at that spot too, right beside the ledge. Ryan Decenzo, he kickback nose blunted it, and I actually just learned recently that he also did kickback nose blunt to fakie on it as well. Found that one on the Expose Instagram. Charles Rivard, he did frontside flip nose grind on it. Zander Mitchell did varial heel flip backside nose grind. Shout out to the primitive dudes. Tiago seems to really like fucking up Montreal. He did switch heel front tail on it. And then Wade Desarmo, he did switch flip front tail on it as well. Fred, he did switch inward heel flip to switch front tail. But like, it was the way he did it. I mean, that trick is insane, right? But the way he like exited out of the switch front tail, like it was all one motion, gets in and like lifts out all nicely. Really like that one a lot. Some of the tricks that went down on the gap, you got Sam Chenard who did switch heel flip on it. I wish it was filmed from a different angle just so you could see like the length of it. Will Cristofaro, he did backside big spin on it, and that's an angle where you can see really like the length of the gap and just like how fast he's going for the spot as well. So I like it when that spot's filmed at that angle. But then you also have Seb Lucas who did backside big flip on it as well. My favorite trick at Park Lafontaine is Antoine Asselin with the kick front crook. And I think this spot's also at Park Lafontaine as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chris St. Cyr, he did nollie heel flip nose slide slash tail slide on like this bank with like two sides of the ledge. And then the craziest part was that he switched 180'd into the next bank as well, and then like rides down and curves away from the trees, and just all one motion. It was insane. It was actually, there's a reason why it was the ender of that dime video, because it's gnarly. And then you also have Sean Malto who skated it too. He skated the handrail at the top. He 50-50 the handrail and then rides down into the next bank too, like super thread the needle shit, and even makes the left turn to get away from those trees and rides away into the sunset. Such a sick one. And speaking of Sean Malto, in Pretty Sweet, there's that over the handrail into the big hill bomb. Sean Malto switched frontside flipped over it, and I wish they extended the clip and actually showed like the full hill bomb, but the clip kind of goes by pretty quick. Alexis Lacroix, though, he did tray flip on the first set, and then ollies down all the next sets of stairs. Just each set of stairs, you're just going faster and faster and faster. So that one's crazy. There's the tall hubba, with the brick with like the concrete slab on it. So it's a super tall hubba. Charles Deschamps, he did back 180 nose grind on it. You also have Sasha Daly who did front 180 nose grind on it, as well as switch front nose. But we gotta shout out Olivier Fontana, I think that's how you say his name. I believe he was the first one to do frontside 180 nose grind on that hubba as well. And then JS Lapierre, he did kickflip nose slide on it. And at that same spot, just on the other side of the stairs, on the other side of the handrail, there's over the rail to the wall. And Chris St. Cyr, he did ollie over backside wall ride, and JS Lapierre did ollie over gap to frontside wall ride. There's the perfect marble out ledge as well. Again, another spot where, you know, probably tons more tricks have gone down. These two stood out to me. You got Sam Chenard who did hard flip frontside nose slide on it. And then my favorite one on that ledge would be Will Cristofaro's big spin front nose big spin that he did in slub bucks. This was one of the most talked about clips that actually ended up in my DMs when I said that I was going to talk about Montreal skate spots. Shameless self-promotion. If you want to actually help me out with these videos too, we have a Discord which is linked down below. But honestly, a lot of it comes through my DMs on Instagram. So like, yep. Follow on Instagram because I'll always post what video I'm going to do next. and then you can just DM me and actually help me out. These videos wouldn't go down without all the great people who are actually, you know, messaging me and contributing everything that they know, because I don't claim to know every single thing about Canadian skateboarding. There's just way too much to know, but when we all come together collectively, like, it actually is super clutch. So yeah, help me out on there through the DMs, Discord, whatever's easiest for you. Jake Johnson with that fucking insane wall ride. It's the end of his static 4 part. That's a sick one. And I believe in that same part, I think it's at the same spot, the clip right before it, he 50-50s this long ass handrail. And speaking of big 50-50s, we gotta talk about the Barry Projects video where Jaden Bono, the last trick of that one, he 50-50s this big ass double king to handrail. This is another one of my favorite spots in Montreal. Another very large, iconic spot in Montreal as well. Prefontaine. Before I even start talking about the tricks, just know that's a spot that I would love to go to and do a full deep dive. So if you see not enough tricks in this video, that's why. Some of the most notable ones to me, and I'm going to start with one of my favorites, you know I like to do that, is Alexis's hang 10 nose grind off the end. It wasn't just the fact that that was insane, but it's the whole clip that plays right afterwards where he goes and kisses his wife after, and like, it's just this whole moment. It's so epic, and you can't write that shit. That was just the perfect clip, the perfect setup. He also did front 180 to fakie manny across the grate and then into the bank. ET's got some sick tricks there. He's got the nollie backside big spin to back nose blunt. All the shit that Hugo's done on that spot. I mean, there's the shove it nose slide to shove it off the end. And there's actually such an insane, impressive amount of tricks that he's done there. And I'm not going to include every single one of them because that's something that should be saved for the full vid. One that I really liked was his nollie inward heel to backside 5-0 grind. My favorite trick at this spot, honestly, it comes down to the way it was edited, was Will Marshall's nollie flip back tail slide to fakie. Before we dive into Olympic Stadium and the Big O, let's quickly shout out Skylar Kerr, who did the most gnarly kickflip in Montreal. Let's talk about Olympic Stadium, and let's talk about the transition tricks that have gone down on the roof first. You got Chris Gregson, who did a front blunt, really good photo by Dan Mathieu. Then you also have the front nose blunt by Adam Hopkins. Shout out to the architect on that one for making something so perfect. Terrifying, but perfect. And then you have Alexis, who just took that thing down like a roller coaster. He did like a big boneless and then skirts his way down all the way to the bottom, and then early grabs off a big, it's like a pretty big drop, and then into like this big bank. I'm surprised he wasn't just going like, oh yeah, as he made his way down. There's like, I think it's like an 8 stair. People typically go down it. And Hugo Balek, he did front shove into it going downwards. And then Charles Deschamps, a photo by James Morley, shows him riding up it front side. And then where the 2 5 stairs are back to back, there's people typically do like one wall ride and then hit the 5 stair. Raven Terche, he did just wall ride the entire thing. There's also the big ass bank, and honestly, dude, I think we just play the compilation from 2019's Dime Glory Challenge of all the tricks that went down to the bank. We got Tom Knox, who fakey trade into it. Shane O'Neill, nollie tray flipped into it. Sasha Daly, backside flip. Mason Silva, he shut that thing down with a frontside big spin heel flip into it. Full cab flipped into it as well. I don't know the guy in the green sweater, but he did like frontside booger nose blunt down the whole thing as well. Mark Suchu, he switched tray flipped into it. And he also did kick flip in and then front 180 in the middle, goes down switch from the middle. And then they also set up a kicker that like launches you into the whole thing as well. That big spin at the very end of it though, that's gnarly. You're going down that shit, and if you're slamming, you're fucking slamming, dude. And then we come to possibly the most legendary spot in Montreal of all, the Big O at Olympic Stadium. They actually did relocate that some years back, but it still exists, thankfully. We have to start with Barry Walsh and Mark Tyson. The doubles that they did that shit back, like way back in the day. I want to say like maybe 2003, maybe even earlier, where just airing over each other and doing slides. A lot of really dope photos over the last 30 years that Dan Mathieu has shot. Even up until recently, like they're still doing it. The fact that they are able to do that in such steep transition, because that transition is like, it's super steep, is super impressive. And you got to shout out to them. Those guys have been holding it down at Big O for over 30 years. So got to pay the respect to them. Sean Malto and Kern Caples paying homage to those guys. Hopefully they knew about it. If not, still all good. They also did some doubles as well. Kern Caples has a backside air over Sean Malto doing a frontside 5-0 slash. Zion Wright with his big backside 540 that he did, damn near going to like what would be the height of the top of the Big O. Like he goes pretty high up, launching out of that steep transition again. Hugo Balek, dude, that backside nose pick, nollie heel back in. I think it was Alexis Lacroix who did the backside 270 nose blunt on like the side of it, and then 270 back in, or like to fakie. You also got Bob LaSalle, who did a pretty funny one. This one's pretty jokes. Pushes himself up it backside, like sliding up it, up the O part, and then like uses his momentum, and he's just like waiting for it as he gets to the end, and then just like kind of pulls himself off. And yeah, I think that clip's just really funny. It might not be one of the craziest tricks to go down, but fuck it, we're putting it in anyways. And then there also is the slide all the way to the end as well. If we're talking about sliding the O, the top of the O part, we got to give it to Max Wasangu. He board slid fucking from the top ropes into it, like reverts into a board slide and then off to the end. That's just crazy. What's supposed to happen on that trick is you're supposed to just fall face first into the quarter pipe, but somehow he managed. And last but definitely not least, and before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button down below, because I know a lot of you have been waiting for this part of the video, which is the massive Olympic Stadium hubba. Thing is crazy. Thing is a 16 stair. It is just incredibly large. Let's start with Ryan Decenzo. He backside 5-0'd that thing in his United by Fate part. Jordan Hoffert, he did frontside lip slide down it. Charles Deschamps, he did frontside tail slide to fakie on it. Le Black Sparrow, dude, he did bean plant. Like he does this trick a lot actually, where he does like bean plant into 5-0 grind, and I think he missed, and he went to like booger blunt slide, and he just landed that instead. Josh Clark, he did front 180 nose grind down it. I couldn't get the clip, but we have the photo for it. You also have Yuri Facchini, who did it switch. He did switch 180 to regular 5-0 down it too. I don't know who did kickflip nose slide down it. It has been done as far as I know. Help me out down below in the comments if we find out who did that or where we can find the clip. I'll create like a YouTube short for it or something like that, and we'll get it posted. But kickflip nose slide's a crazy one for sure. Dan Plunkett, he did backside blunt slide down. Adam Diet in Dark Stars forward slash. He did kickback 50-50 on it.
Montreal, baby.
Fuck it. Yeah. Dude, that was fucked. Yeah.
And then we come back to it, dude. Let's just end it here. 2019 Dime Glory Challenge in the streets at the biggest, most gnarliest spot in Montreal. Mark Suchu, he does switch backside 50-50 down the hubba. And then you have people who are just skating the stairs. Like people skated the stairs at that event. Green sweater guy, I don't know his name, but he back 180'd it. There was also a frontside 180 melon grab down it as well. Ryan Decenzo, he kick flipped it that day. Ryan Decenzo, if you're watching this shit, like, we want it. We need that front 360 down at Olympic Stadium, man. Do that shit, please. And then we have, like, the wall rail as well. Mason Silva, he did frontside Smith grind on it. You have T-Funk, he did front tail on it. And then to end it off, dude, we got Piff. Like I was telling you earlier, someone who could skate massive hubbas. Let's also talk about frontside no slides. Piff has the best one, and he frontside no slid the shit out of that thing. Shout out to Dime for doing all those Dime Glory challenges and all the videos that they put out as well. There's like 15-foot snowbanks outside my house right now, just outside Toronto. So that's why we're doing all these like videos from inside my studio here, just because it's a little harder to get out right now. But if you guys are liking these videos, let me know in the comments down below if you're enjoying them. Hit the like button, subscribe for more. There actually won't be a video coming out the following Saturday after this is posted. I'm going to be on a cruise, so speaking of escaping winter, I'm going to be somewhere hot. So you'll have to wait another week. 2 weeks, we'll post another video. I want to say 2 weeks. And we'll get back on schedule after that. But hey, until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.